So you love Lone Wolf game books, do you? Want to know more? You can't get enough? Well, stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. Yes, this is a Lone Wolf special nonetheless, because it's an interview with Rene Batsford from
VisionizAR.
Thank you, VisionizAR. I knew I'd get that wrong. And he is everything Lone Wolf. So let's crack on. Hello, welcome. I like to formally take our guest hands. How are you?
I'm good. I've got my Bottled Imp cup of tea
yes,
here.
Yes, that's
Troll's
what we
blood.
like. We like the we like
mixed with troll's blood. Give me some stamina.
Exactly. We like the branding. We like
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Cool. So the reason why you're here,
yes.
as you well know,
yes.
is you basically live and breathe Lone Wolf, don't you?
To a certain extent, for the last couple of years, but going back to being a kid, really.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got some books here, haven't we?
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Because with Lone Wolf, people that don't know. Mm-hmm. I really got into fighting fantasy,
yes. Yep.
which was from Ultimate Games Workshop, wasn't it? It was Ian Livingstone and
Steve
Jackson.
Yeah. Brands Fighting Fantasy.
Yeah.
Ian and Steve founded Games Workshop, and around the same time they created this, the Warlock of Ottoman, so we probably all remember that. And that was the very first thing that got a lot of us into that. Funnily enough, mine first was actually Citadel of Chaos, weirdly enough, and then I went back to Warlock, where it was at my local school book club.
Okay.
So that's where I bought mine. So showing my age here a bit. But I just fell in love with the just the stories and the artwork as well.
Yeah, the artwork's beautiful.
And Ian and Steve. Before that, they started doing Dungeons and Dragons. They were the first to get that published. And then a guy who was working with them called Joe Dever. He had come back from the States. And he'd won a Dungeon Master award over in the States, first British
Wasn't
guy
it?
to do it.
Yeah, it was Advanced D&D.
AD&D, yeah.
AD&D, yeah. And he was, about 30 years old?
Yeah, I mean, his background, he was like a sound engineer as well. So he's a multi-talented guy. And it was kind of looking to publish it. And there was all sorts of offers that were coming. There's a great video of Joe talking about how Lone Wolf came to be. But effectively, it was a campaign. It was a Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Yes.
And
that was the history of it. So he had created the world. What's the world called?
Magnamund, yeah.
I can never pronounce it.
Yeah, Magnamund,
yeah. And they played D&D within that world.
Yeah, so you know, if you've ever been a dungeon master and if you've ever created a world and the characters and everything, and he created this, and he turned this into a book. And in the same year, we've actually gone and created a timeline. So you guys can flash that up at some point or send a link, and it charts the whole history of Lone Wolf right the way from 1984 when these came out.
Yeah, because apparently because I didn't know this, but they actually published these two together, didn't they?
They came out in the same year.
The same year, which I think is really cool because so just those of you that don't know, they're actually a linked series, aren't they? You power up. So although you choose your own adventure, you choose how the story unfolds, like the Fighting Fantasy. The Fighting Fantasy ones are pretty much standalone, although they're set in the same world, but you don't carry on your character, whereas these do.
The only exception was Sorcery, which was by Steve Jackson, which is a 4-part epic. But you're absolutely right, and this is where it's probably more aligned with like Dungeons and Dragons, because you tend to, as you say, level up your character throughout a campaign. So what Joe wanted to do is to carry that through in the books. So you play, a lot of people don't know, you play Silent Wolf, basically. So one of the last of the Kai. And
they're like monk warriors.
They're kind of Jedi, sort of clandestine Jedi. So you've got all kind of things like Mind Blast, and as you know, all these kinetic abilities and things like that. It's pretty
healing,
pretty cool.
And
obviously, you know, Joe. Obviously, it was on the book covers. It's like Joe Dever and Gary Chalk as well. So you've got amazing illustrations by Gary Chalk. And Gary was he did a lot of illustrations for Games Workshop. So he did Talisman, the first edition.
Actually, I did know that, and then I was reading up for this interview last night again, and I went, oh yeah, of course, it's Gary Chalk. That's why I love them so much, because the original Talisman ones are amazing. They're really good. So if you haven't checked out Gary Chalk's illustrations, check them out online. Because he did books 1 to 8, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then other people started doing the illustrations.
Yeah, they kind of went their kind of ways, you know, and so obviously Joe carried on Lone Wolf and published again. If you look at the timeline,
how many books? So how many books in total? Because I know, because having read, okay, so from my point of view, I got into Fighting Fantasy for some reason. Lone Wolf, it passed me by. I didn't see it on the shelf. I didn't know of it until I started doing the Bottled Imp. When about a year into doing the Bottled Imp, one of our viewers just said, "Oh, you should be reviewing Lone Wolf."
Yep.
Do you know about Project Avon?
Aeon.
Aeon.
Aeon. Yep.
Where they then put them all up online, didn't they? Which was a crazy thing to do, but you can download them now and you can play them.
Yeah, I mean, there was a hiatus. So again, if you go back through the timeline, you'll see what happened was Joe decided that, obviously, you know, Joe was also very prolific in game design and not just analog like books, but digital as well. So he worked for the likes of Sony and people like that. So he's way ahead of his time. In actual fact, the first year, when the books came out, he actually the old Spectrum Commodore 64. They actually had the equivalent
game. Yes, I saw that as well.
Incredible.
Have you played that? Did you?
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, one guy's. This has all come from him. Yeah. And then to your point, so fast forward to the kind of 90s, and then Joe kind of gave to the community. Because people couldn't get hold of the books.
Yeah, because they
went out of print.
Yeah, they went out of print for a while.
Yeah.
Then they became very rare, obviously, and then they were selling for like £100 or £200, something like that.
Yeah. So what happened is the community. After that, the community got really, you know, got a lot more people. And they got interested in the books again.
Yeah.
And Joe decided to do a Kickstarter. And this is where the kind of collector's editions come in, which is just under there.
Yeah, so
I bought some of them with me as well.
You've very kind.
So this is so that's Storms of Chai. So it's a sort of bit of tinge with a bit of sadness. So it was Joe's last book that he created.
Yeah.
And then just like some kind of legendary, I suppose, story, he passed the torch to his son.
Yes.
Which is Ben, who we now work with Lone Wolf AR.
Yeah.
And this is Dead in the Deep, and that's come out this year in English.
Right, so it's the story is by Joe.
Correct.
And then Ben and Vincent.
Yeah, so Vincent is kind of Mr. Lone Wolf. He knows every. I mean, Joe famously said, like, Vincent knows Lone Wolf better than I do.
Right, yeah.
And then Ben, I mean, this is a start.
Because this has just come out, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is Ben's first book.
Yeah.
And he won an award. So last year we visited Lucca, so it's kind of coming into the Lone Wolf AR bit here.
Yeah.
We went to Lucca with our game, a Lone Wolf augmented reality game, and myself and co-founder Adam Kulik, and basically we launched it there to, you know, thousands of fans, a 250,000 people descend upon Lucca Comic and Games.
Wow! So this is in Italy, isn't it?
This is in Italy, and
that's when they published it.
This was so they did an Italian edition.
Yeah.
So through Raven Publications, a slightly bigger book format of book.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what Ben wanted to do is to keep to the collectors. So this form factor.
I've not even looked inside.
Yeah. So you can kind of see they're kind of roughly the same size, but they're bigger.
Yeah,
and the reason why they're bigger,
the
reason why they're thicker, obviously the grade of paper, but also each of these has a bonus adventure in them. Unlike the
I did read about that, actually.
So unlike the paperback, these are collector's editions. So these were originally published by, I believe it was Mongoose.
Yeah.
And then there was a Manticore who went on to publish them as well. I mean, basically, Lone Wolf's been published in about 18 languages all around the world.
Well, this is what because I mean, in my ignorance, because I was like, well, I've never heard of these. Surely no one else has, you know, that sort of mentality. And then as I started digging into it, and I started reviewing Warlock, because I thought, let's go back to Warlock Factory.
Yes.
So I started getting back into game books. And then I thought, let's check out other game books, because it's interesting to see how they've furthered the genre or added to it.
Yeah.
So we reviewed, what is it, the Sword of the Bastard Elf.
It's an amazing book.
Which is
it's
really
the biggest
fun.
game book
it's huge.
You want it to land on you.
Exactly. But again, different mechanics in it. There's different things going on.
A lot of humour as well.
A lot of humour. It's very adult. And then so what I'm trying to say is so I was really impressed with the fact that you get special abilities, the kind disciplined. I thought, you don't get that in. And then you get different weapons, and you get so there's a whole different sort of mechanic for it.
Yeah, I also call it obviously have the economy of inventory. So it gives you a kind of so you've only got so many slots for your inventory. So it means that you have to discard certain things, and as you're doing your playthroughs of Lone Wolf, you go, "Oh, have I got the right weapon on me?" So it creates all these kind of mechanics within the game,
and it's a little bit more realistic in some respects. Not that it's fantasy anyway, but in terms of the confines of being realistic, isn't it? Yeah. Like Talisman, you're only allowed 4 items, and you kind of think, oh, that's fair enough, because if I've got to carry them,
exactly.
So there is a bit more realism to it. And we do playthroughs on our Facebook. So go to Facebook, search for the Bottled Imp page. And then every 2 weeks, I think the 2nd of August is our next one, I sit and read them, and you guys decide. And it's really fun because obviously as a collective, you might not get your decision. So you're like, oh, but I told you not to.
Oh, we're dead.
Exactly.
Exactly,
yeah. Although we kind of, I give 3 lives. We have 3 lives. Right, what I was also interested, so I had the pleasure of meeting Joe at the UK Games Expo in 2015, I think it was, 2016. Yeah. No, in 2016. Yeah. And it was just a happen chance because I started becoming aware of Lone Wolf. We were doing a walkthrough of the, Julian and I were doing a walkthrough of the event. Yep. And I recognised him, and I recognised the Lone Wolf, and I went, and we were just doing we weren't planning on doing an interview with him. And I said, do you mind doing an interview? We just sprung it off him. Yeah. And he was such a nice guy.
He was wonderful,
and really intelligent, and he was really, you could see, even, I think he was, about 60 then? Yeah. He was such enthusiastic about his work. So you think, he's loved this all his life.
Oh, yeah.
Very knowledgeable of it. Such a lovely interview. Yeah. And on the back of that, I then bought this.
Love it, yeah.
Which is the Lone Wolf Adventure game. Now, was it from, Cubicle 7? Yeah. Now, I've not played this yet. Yeah. But have you played this?
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's, again, like you said, something you might consider for your channel, there's a lot of people who do role-playing game playthroughs as well. And I listen to them as well. So just like yourself, there's loads of people that do playthroughs. So that would be amazing to do that.
I'm excited to crack that open at some point. Yep. So cool. And I've noticed, you've brought this along as well. I didn't know that they've made. So, what other sort of merchandise is there then?
Tons. So basically, this is by Francesco.
Someone's breaking in.
Mattioli. I got to meet Francesco back in Lucca last year.
Okay.
And he's the kind of official cartographer.
Oh right.
Yeah, so there's another one out by Asflagen, which is Swedish guys, and they've done like city maps. But he does all the. Yeah. So if you do want to, you can go to Cubicle site. You can buy.
That's where you can get it.
I mean, I think there's about 12, 14 now. There's lots of maps, and lots of people collect them as well.
I was going to say, we all like a map, don't we? If you're into fantasy, that's like default, isn't it? Exactly. It's like catnip. So what's this one then?
So that's another part. It's the Shadakin Empire. Exactly. I know.
I don't know this
we all have issues with that. Yeah, because it's. I mean, he's got his own economies in there. There's different currencies. It's so deep and detailed. It's probably the most detailed backdrop to any game book that's ever been created, basically.
So do you I did read up that there was an attempt to try and get it made into a TV show or a film. Do you know anything about that? Or
I know years ago they had almost like I know you love Skyrim, Ken. So they even before Skyrim came out, they were working on that. I think it was over in Singapore. There's something on YouTube about it, but again, so
because the whole world is creative,
it's so detailed.
You
it's
could
incredible.
so just get. I mean, imagine if Netflix picked it up as like a 10-part first series. It'd be brilliant.
There's more detail probably in Joe's stuff there that it's not doing any disservice to anyone else than there probably is The Witcher. And actually the other thing as well, again, reference the timeline, and we spent a lot of time on it, but Joe also had a load of novels published as well. So if you want to get into, if you're more interested in reading it as a novel, so there's 12 books.
Yeah, and who are they by? I've forgotten now.
So I think it's Grant or Graham, I can't remember. I should know this. But basically, so you've got Eclipse of the Kai. And actually, you can get your hands on a audio. They actually did an audio drama as well, which is phenomenal. Okay. So if you go on YouTube, it's actually on there.
Oh, okay.
And it actually is the lead up to how the Kai monastery got sort of decimated. And that's okay, because if you play the first book, then you know that right at the beginning, so it's not a spoiler.
Well, this is it. I'm still very new, and I don't want to know too much, really, because I've only played one of them. We reviewed this, so if you want to check out our review on the Bottled Imp, we reviewed that one. I'm currently playing this one, and without beef about it, I'm really enjoying it. This is one we're playing through at the moment. It's really enjoying it, and so it's one of these things. And I do like the fact you can power up and carry on building your character to the next one, So the way they've done it though is it like the first 5 books are with one character, then there's have they done it in series?
You play Silent Wolf right the way through. Obviously when you've got these bonus things, you do play different characters in some of those. So obviously, but that's the collector's editions. They're really hard to come by, some of them. I believe there are plans to republish the soft covers though.
All the soft covers.
Yeah, I mean
they would be very popular.
Very popular. And there's just and the other thing as well that Joe has done, and obviously with Ben, they've been so great for illustrators and artists. And you've been an artist yourself.
Well,
no,
I dabble. Yeah.
But you got people like so on this one you got people like Alberto Delago.
Yeah,
just phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's just amazing. I've got to meet Alberto as well.
So let's talk about because your involvement now has gone beyond being a fan. Because you're involved officially, aren't you?
Yes, indeed.
So tell us about that. So it's Lone Wolf AR.
Yep, Lone Wolf Augmented. The AR stands for Augmented Reality.
Okay, so do you want to explain A, what the hell that is?
I will do,
and B, then more about the game and how you've brought the books to life.
So probably the easiest reference for that is, if anyone's played Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go, right.
And most recently you've got like Harry Potter's, Wizards Unite. I'd like to say we'd come up with the idea of role playing before those guys, but obviously, it's out there. Exactly. And that's fine. It's great because all it means is that more people get into AR really, and they start to look for more.
So basically, what you do is you get your phone. Yep. You download the software, the app. Yep. The software.
Yeah.
How old am I?
Yep.
Download the app, and then you use your camera to see your background. Yeah. And then monsters come out and you play the game.
In very simplistic terms, it overlays your world with digital content. And what it's doing is your camera's looking to detect the ground. So it's basically called bit geeky planar mapping. So basically, it's just a flat plane, and what it does, it detects that, and then it places on that the content. Right. Where we differ from a lot of others is in the storyline as well. So because one of the things that what captivated me, particularly in Lone Wolf and Fighting Fantasy and all these things, is what's called branching narrative. So when you're playing these books, the narrative isn't like a continuum like a normal book. No. It's split based on the choices you make. And I thought that would be a great idea for a game, a digital game, because I thought to myself, well, if you could place the encounters like you would having the book, but you place them on a map, but you're physically on that map, i.e. your local park. So we created a prototype where you could basically select the area where you wanted to play, because we wanted people to play safely within their own park or wherever it was. You don't want them playing in the middle of a motorway.
No. You didn't know we were talking about that before. We were like, but hang on. So you're playing that and then suddenly you're in the middle of a road. It's like,
you don't want to play like a real life version of Frogger.
No, exactly.
If anyone remembers that. So basically, so you select your favourite place where you want to play, and we create what's called another techie thing, a geofence. And all a geofence is a set of points on a map, and then what our algorithm or our program does is it creates the adventure inside that. So if you can imagine in your mind, like almost like a mind map where you've got nodes and they're linked, and you go to the first node and you go, right, I want to start my adventure. Then the encounters open up there, you start your adventure, and dependent on what you do,
based on your decision, it will take you over here. Or it might take
and then unlocks the other locations. So it's very much a kind of discovery type game. So basically, you go to your first node, first encounter location, and they can be up to 10 meters across.
Right. Okay.
And that's all a lot to do with GPS tracking. So, but I won't go into that another time maybe. But basically, so in the end, you have the yieldy map on your screen, and you can go, I'm going to go off in this direction. You use your compass to walk in the direction of the.
Right. So so you can flip between.
You physically traverse from one location to another.
But what I mean is, like so you would see again. So you would say that was your screen. Your phone, you could call up map, and then it would show you the map like this, And then you would go, right, I want to go there. And so you click on that, or you just start walking. You just start walking.
Yeah. So it's like, think of there's a mechanic used in a lot of other games called like Fog of War.
Okay.
And that basically means that you only see what's shown to you available on the map.
Right.
And as you progress through the adventure, it unlocks other locations.
I see,
Yeah.
So in terms of, so you've basically, so tell me about the storyline then, in terms of, have you based it on, like, we're going right back to book 1?
No, so it's based in the world of Lone Wolf.
Okay.
And what we didn't want to do is we didn't obviously limit you to a single character. So again, if you think something like Dungeons and Dragons or even Lone Wolf role-playing game, it basically means you can create loads of different classes and characters. So set within the world of Lone Wolf. It's not like you playing Silent Wolf.
So it's basically you've got new stories. Yep. You've got new monsters and stuff like that.
So we base everything based on Lone Wolf. So everything that exists in that world, we and that was one of the things we wanted to do. We wanted to say for the fans, we wanted to stay very true to the actual the lore and everything else like that.
So you've got is it the Gaiacs?
Yep.
You've got stuff like that.
So that's Joe's equivalent of an orc, I guess. Gaiac or Gaiac.
And then there are certain characters. Well, I've only done book 1 and 2, but so presumably you may meet certain characters crop up.
Depends on the timeline. So the thing about with Joe is he's so detailed. I mean, there's a timeline that's thousands of years.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a question of where you select. I'm not saying in the game you select the timeline, but there will be a specific timeline that we use for the all the stories basically. So you have your main arc like you do in a lot of role playing games, as you referenced Skyrim before, and then you got all your side quests and things like that. Right. So very similar to a role playing game, but it's done in augmented reality. So no one's ever done that before.
Yeah, that's why I think this can be really exciting because you're in a world that you love already, or if you don't, you'll get to know it, and it's so rich and detailed.
Yep.
And then you're playing. You're actually going on a quest, aren't you? And then you've got your other side quests, and it is that sandbox. I can just do what I want when I want.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah,
to a certain extent. So we've got lots of social elements as well. So being able to call to action other players to help you maybe in a fight.
Yeah.
There's a whole load of mechanics that we're working through on that.
Right.
There's also everything called Homestead. So the idea is, again, you think Prancing Pony with the hobbits in Lord of the Rings, and it's a place of safety where you can go back and you can socialise, and so that could be your physical home, and within that home you could then basically set up things like the ability to repair weapons or upgrade them or make potions. So effectively today you could say, right, I'm going to do a side quest and I'm going to do some resourcing, and I'm going to take that back and I'm going to make a sword and actually going to sell it on the marketplace. So it is very much kind of getting into most MMORPG. But that said, we're trying to focus on small parties. So initially it'll be single player. We'll then look at small parties, and then we'll look at in terms of multiplayer. Then we'll be looking to maybe you could have parties pitting themselves against one another. So you could end up with it's almost like Greece sticking your pink slips in and going, right, we bid you that we'll beat you to this point, and so we see it as really exciting. It could create a whole load of other kind of
and so in terms of like the weapons and that, so the controls are basically swiping and things like that, isn't it? And
so I mean, we've actually got a prototype, what I call a van brace.
Okay.
So we probably won't bring this out to begin with, but the van brace goes on your arm, and the phone actually clips into the van brace. So this is a physical thing. So you actually hold your arm up like this, and the phone goes in. It's like a phone case that it's almost I don't know if everyone's played Fallout. There's a thing called Pip-Boy. So you can imagine that. But the actual van brace looks it's like leather, and it's beautiful. We've had it made actually, and then we've also developed a controller as well. And the controller can basically use haptics, which means sort of tactile feedback, and it's got cool. So basically you could use a controller as a sword 1 minute, a bow and arrow the next. But before we get too excited with that, first things first, we'll deliver the actual game, and then we'll see how that goes. Basically.
And talking of that, so where can they find out more information about it? Or?
So we have our website, so lonewolfar.com, and we've also we're quite big on social media at the moment, so we've got our own Facebook page as well. So check out Lone Wolf AR game. But the links will probably be
we'll put all the links. Any links we'll put in there. And also, when do you plan on launching it?
So the next few weeks, we're actually going to Kickstarter.
Okay,
so
cool.
we'll make this sort of announcement fairly soon.
Yeah. Cool.
And or it may have already happened. Depends when this goes out. And then the plan is to then continue building and evolving the game to get it to a point where we can ship it. But typically, what you do with these things, you tend to do like a beta test as well. So a lot of fans that sign up early will get early access, and then we can kind of get all their feedback as well. Really, very much a community style game approach, really.
Yeah, and improve it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That sounds really, really exciting. I'm very excited about it. My only downside is that I wish I had read more books, so I kind of know a bit more about the world. But that's the nice thing about it. When you discover a new world, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. Right. I'll do a formal shake at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm sure you did. Yes, and as we say, we will put all the links in the actual description of the video. Plus, we'll obviously put up stuff in the Bottled Imp page. And also, we have got a fellowship. We've got a group, so search for the Bottled Imp Fellowship in Facebook. Click join and we'll add you in, and then we'll obviously be posting loads of stuff. We've already posted stuff up about Lone Wolf AR, and we post up loads of stuff about Fantasy, so come check that out. Until next time, remember to keep it unreal, especially